Hey guys, Shifty here, and welcome to Can I Beat Pokemon Y with only Fairy-type Pokemon. Generation 6 being the generation that introduced the Fairy-type, I thought it was only fitting that it be the generation we do this challenge in. And these games aren't particularly hard, and seeing as this is my first Pokemon challenge in over a year, I could use a little warm-up. And I have a decent number of encounters for this challenge, so let's go over the rules. No items in battle except for held items, and I can only use Fairy-type Pokemon in battle. And if a Pokemon faints, it gets sent to the Shadow Realm. With all that out of the way, consider subscribing and leaving a comment with the Pokemon challenge you want to see me do, and with your answer to the question on screen. Now, let's get into the challenge. After a very rude awakening from a fletchling, we get dressed and suddenly it's time to choose our starter. And I chose Froakie, but it doesn't really matter as we get our first real encounter in Route 3. It's an Azurill, and I'll be honest, I'm calling this attempt 1, but I did reset a couple times to get a huge power Azurill for pretty obvious reasons. Huge power plus moves like Aqua Tail, Super Power, and Play Rough means she's going to be our main source of physical damage, and I name her Baby. And after a lot of running around to build up her happiness, she evolves into Meryl, and because we evolved at level 10, she learns both Defense Curl and Rollout. With Defense Curl doubling the power of Rollout, we're able to one-shot Surskit and then Vivillon, winning us our first gym badge with no trouble at all. And with that, we can make our way through Route 4, but actually skip the encounter here for right now and proceed to Lumio City, where Professor Hunk over here gives us a Kalos starter, but unfortunately none of them are fairy types until Charizard gets a 15th new form, where he's Fire and Fairy. After that, we head to Parfum Palace to have a shitty game of tag with a Furfrou and watch some fireworks. We get the flute to wake up Snorlax, beat his ass, then get our encounter in Route 7, which can only be Flabebe or Swirlix, but because Flabebe has a much higher encounter rate, we find it and catch it. When this thing's fully evolved, it becomes a great special defense wall, and with Wish and Protect, it can stay healthy. I can definitely see this thing being a great member of the team. Now with Flabebe caught, it's time to go back to Route 4 to catch Ralts. It's a much lower encounter rate than Flabebe, so I had to try to get Flabebe somewhere else to get a Ralts. Plus, we get to use a Mega Gardevoir, which will hit like a truck with a base 165 special attack, and strong moves like Moonblast and Psychic. Also, Baby evolves into a Azumarill. Once we go back to Route 7, we have a little fight with Tierno and whatever the other one's name is, and we stomp him. Then we go on to Ambrette Town to clear Team Flare out of the Glittering Cave, but before we do that, we have to add another team member, this being the one and only Mawile. Luckily, we get one with Intimidate, which is such a great ability, and it gives us a great steel typing, giving us a little defense against the poison types that would otherwise go crazy on the team. We beat Team Flare, then head over to Silage City for our second gym badge, and do you want to guess how the rock type gym went with our huge power Azumarill with Aqua Tail? If you guessed pretty good, but we got Paraflinched by Tyrant down to 25 HP, I'd say you're a Psychic or you're living in my walls. So I switched out my beautiful Baby for Mawile, and with a few fairy ones coming off of a next to nothing special attack stat, we win our second gym badge. Oh, and then we caught a stubble in the grass outside the city, but it doesn't have an Intimidate, so bro's kinda ass. Then Karina rolls up, literally, and I remember we have to fight her 2 Lucarios, and I start worrying because I don't remember if they have a steel type move. But instead of doing the smart thing and looking it up, I just risk Curly's life for no reason. Luckily they don't, so Curly takes out the first Lucario, and Mawile can finish up the last one. We also catch a Dedenne here, which may help out with moves like Charm and Nuzzle, but we'll see. We make it through Reflection Cave unscathed and meet up with the gang where Serena battles us, but she's still pretty easy. The most important thing to come from the battle is Curly evolves into a fully grown woman that is Gardevoir. And do you guys want to guess how the fighting gym went with a Gardevoir that knows confusion? Extremely well. Shocker, I know. On Route 12, while riding the Skidoo, we pick up a Shiny Stone to finally evolve Floette into Florges, which I do right before another Serena fight, and again, she's light work for the team. Also, it's time for another gym, and maybe the most forgettable gym/gym leader ever. Like, if I asked you guys to name the gym leader's name, you're never naming him, I swear. Even if I asked for just grass-type gym leaders, you are not naming this guy. I bet people will say Silent from Black and White before this motherfucker. Anyways, rant over, Granbull barely beats Jumpluff. I told you he's ass. And then we protect Stall Go-Go with Florges. I told you that'd come in handy. And then Mawile walls Weepinbell for another easy gym fight. Now we visit the desert that's just randomly in France. I'm no desertologist, but I don't think there's a desert in France. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, Team Flare is at the power plane, and I'm sure you guys know how this goes. It's not hard, but my Pokemon are coming dangerously close to the level cap at the next gym. And by the time we get there, only 3 of my Pokemon are usable. I spent a long time trying to figure out what I could do to try to beat Clement's Magneton, and after way too long I realized I have Calm Mind on Gardevoir, and a Citrus Berry, and I pray that I can make it work. He leads with a Molga, which means we can set up 2 Calm Minds and it'll take a quarter of our health after the Citrus Berry, and 1 shot with Confusion. Next is Magneton, and we land Confusion for over half its health, then he goes for Mirror Shot and it misses, and another Confusion takes out the Magnet Menace, leaving just Heliolisk, which easily goes down in a few Confusions. On the way to Levere City, we fight Serena, but it's really light work for my girl Gardevoir. Once we make it to Levere, I head straight for the gym and proceed to get lost for actual minutes of my life. Once I finally find the bitch, it's go time. Lead Gardevoir cleanly 2-shots Mawile with Psychic, and I go for Mawile on Mr. Mime, thinking I have a Steel-type move, but I don't, because this Pokemon sucks. It's so bad until you get Iron Head and Play Rough. She really has no fucking moves. Anyway, after getting Mr. Mime down to about half with strength, I go to Ozzy to clean it up, then switch to Carbink on Sylveon to lower its speed with Rock Tomb. Then I do my favorite strat of all time, Wish Protect Stalling. I told you this thing would come in handy. Many hours later, we win and get Dazzling Gleam for our troubles, which is a big get for Florges and Gardevoir. Then some story happens at the Pokeball factory or something. I don't know, man, I really wasn't paying attention. Then, during our travels to the next gym, we stop off at the Lost Hotel to get our last encounter, a Klefki. With Prankster giving +1 priority to annoying status moves, this thing could come in pretty handy to get out of sticky situations. We get to Dynamill Town and more Team Flater stuff is happening, but I'm gonna be honest guys, I'm so checked out of the story at this point that I really have no fucking clue what's going on. We clear them out, then I ride your mom like usual, and we get back to Anastar City. We fight Serena, and then it's gym time. Gardevoir takes down Sigilif after a while, and I go to Mawile, and absolutely risk its life to a crit Shadow Ball, but that's okay. And lastly, Slowking goes down to Florges and Big Dog. Another dog shit easy gym completed. And now it's time for even more story. Yay. Back in Lumios, we open Sesame the door to Lysander's hideout and battle him, and by battle him, I mean Guard just clicks some moves to be honest. More getting lost ensues, but eventually I make it to where I need to go, and get to watch this actually really sick cutscene with like these hand-drawn looking stills. It's actually like really cool. Then the big-ass crystal laser gun thing looking like some out of Steven Universe pops up, and then we go and fight Lysander again. Mienshao is no match for Florges, but then Gyarados comes in and Iron Heads the fuck out of Florges, and it just fucking dies. Like it folds like really fucking fast, so I go to Klefki to foul play and hit Gyarados with its own attack stat, but it has fucking Earthquake. Why does it have Earthquake? It's a flying type, he shouldn't be able to do that. So after sacking 1/3 of the team to Gyarados, Gardevoir and Azumarill come in and clean everything up. I guess this is what I get for not paying attention, trying to breeze through the game, but at least now there's stakes to this, right? That means you'll keep watching to see if I complete the challenge. Please keep watching, I really need this. After more fights with Grunts, we get to freeze Xerneas, and don't worry, I do catch it, but I'm not going to use it. Unless shit gets like really bad, then I might. But now it's time for Lysander round 3, and I'm winging it to be honest. After sacking 1/3 of the team last fight, I didn't do any research. But Guard takes out Mienshao, and Mawile handles Honchkrow. Azumarill whips Pyroar, and I go to Mawile on Gyarados just to intimidate and switch. Big Dog eats an Earthquake and an Iron Head surprisingly, but it flinches so I couldn't Charm. So I switch back to Mawile for another Intimidate and just kinda pray that it lives a -2 Earthquake, which it thankfully does. Which means Azumarill can come in and live 2 Earthquakes while risking a crit and kill with a Play Rough. Should I have planned that? Probably. Did I need to? Obviously not, I'm just kinda goated. Before continuing, I farm some hard skills so I can give my Pokemon actually good moves like Play Rough and Iron Head for Mawile, and Moonblast for Gardevoir. Next on the hit list is Wolfric, and guess how I took him down now that I have a Mawile with Iron Head? That's right, I Calm Mind with Gardevoir twice and swept with Moonblast. I'm truly the greatest Pokemon player of all time. Watch out, Wolfglick. Victory Road is certainly a thing that happens, and we get to fight Serena again, yay. We make it to Elite Four in one piece, and it's at this point that I remember I have Carbink in the box, so I pull it out and give it some moves. Entering the Elite Four, we can choose who to do first, and I chose Malva, and lead Carbink into Pyroar as it's hard-walled by me and set up Stealth Rocks. We also drop its speed with Rock Tomb before switching out to Azumarill, who easily lives a Flamethrower and a Wild Charge after munching on a Citrus Berry. Then it's as easy as clicking Waterfall 4 times. Next up is Wakestrom, the Steel-type specialist, and Azumarill easily beats Klefki and gets +1 from Power Punch in the process. Probopass is out second, but it's no problem between Waterfalls and Power Punch. And out comes Scizor. With its stab Iron Head, it's definitely gonna hurt, but Azumarill holds strong and eats it, and a Citrus Berry, but flinches. But I decide to, for no reason, risk the crit, and live another Iron Head to kill the Metal Menace. Lastly is Aegislash, but with Mawile's bulk plus Intimidate, we can comfortably live an Iron Head and get off a +2 Sucker Punch, getting us halfway through the Elite Four. Drasna, the Dragon-type specialist, is up next, so I lead Gardevoir and Calm Mind, obviously, but unfortunately the Gardevoir sweep is cut short by Dragalge's Sludge Bomb poisoning us, so Gardevoir only takes out Dragalge and Altaria before switching out on Noivern for Carbink to wall and eventually knock out. And lastly is Druddigon, which can't hold on against huge power Azumarill. And lastly for the Elite Four is Seabold, which, I'm not gonna lie to you, Azumarill was fucking up like crazy until I misclicked Waterfall into Starmie, so Gardevoir had to come in and clean it up, but light work for the team. And by the team, I mean Azumarill and Gardevoir. Against Champion Diantha, I lead Mawile into Hawlucha, as we can just sit on it and get +6 and knock it out. Her Goodra comes in and hits a mean Fire Blast, but we live it and kill right back, which means that Tyrantrum comes in, but Big Dog can easily live an Earthquake and neuter the Tyrant with a Charm to live another Quake, heal with a Berry, and then kill with Play Rough. Next out is Auroras, but it's absolute food for Gardevoir to set up on, and so the run ends exactly as you thought it would, with Gardevoir clicking Calm Mind and blowing shit up. And just like that, with 2 deaths, the run's over, which is too many for any Kalos run, but it is what it is. Thank you guys for watching, I always appreciate it, and hopefully I can do more of these Pokemon challenges, so let me know if you want to see more mono-type runs, or more single Pokemon runs like I used to do, or anything else you guys can think of, really. I'm an open book. So, thank you for watching, consider subscribing if you made it this far, and I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that is. Peace.